Hello, and thank you so much for being here for Behind the Scenes, what it really takes to hit $1 million or more in your business. I have been anticipating this interview for probably since I decided I was going to do this because today I have the amazingly passionate and talented Connie Benedict with us today. Connie, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, like before we started recording this, I was asking Connie a pet question because I don't know much about pets, but y'all know I have Prada, and I was like, I think my dog is like got a cold, and Connie has got some fur babies, and she was like, that's totally possible. So Connie has now diagnosed that my dog probably needs to see the vet. So we're moving right along, and now we're going to talk about your business. And I think one of the most important topics about starting a business, what it takes to hit a million, is what Connie is going to talk to us about today, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is passion. Connie, tell us a little bit about your story. Connie runs multiple businesses. By the way, she's an award-winning graphic designer, and her designs are fabulous. But that's not Connie's passion so much anymore. Connie also has a business called Montclair. Did I say it right? I always southern it up, Connie. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you said it perfect. That was
Right.
great. Yeah.
And so where she helps people who have either started the wrong business, figure out which business to decide, which business to start, or people who are in soul-sucking corporate America dreaming of starting a business, she helps them figure out which business is going to be centered around their passion. Does that feel accurate, Connie? I want to make sure I do it justice.
That is accurate. Yeah, yeah. So basically the way that I say it is you want to start a business, but you don't know what business to start. And what I do is I help you figure out that business that is ideally meant for you. The next people is you've started a business, but you don't feel passionate about it. Maybe you started the wrong business, and I am very familiar with that feeling because I've started many wrong businesses. So, and you're really looking again for that unique business that just lights you up, that makes you feel wonderful inside. And that is what I'm trying to get to. So, the thing that I want out there in the world is for everybody to be smiling when we walk down the street. That's what I want. And how do you get there? You get there by starting the business that just lights you up, gets you excited, you want to wake up in the morning and go to this business.
Yeah.
And that's what my passion is. And of course, entrepreneurialism. It's really, I don't always work with clients that, want to go from one career to the next. To me, I believe America was built on entrepreneurialism, and I am ready to see that really come back full swing into America again. And so that's what I'm passionate about.
Me too. I believe that too. I love that, Connie. And I've never heard you articulate it quite like that before, but I totally agree. I think that the American dream, right? Like I think that somehow in some way has to do with that. And I say that all the time to my husband. So I love that. Connie, tell us a little bit about your path. Your path gives me chills. So just about the jobs that you've had and kind of what led you here. I really want people to see the evolution because it's an important part of your story and why you're so passionate about this. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I started, it kind of goes back to college times, to be really honest with you, and even really high school, because in some ways I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I knew was back in high school was I was good at math. That's it. And I really wanted to be an accountant. And both my high school counselor and my dad was like, you have way too much personality to be an accountant, which I don't always believe now. But okay, I guess accountants are boring. I don't know. I really cool accountants. Well, back then, you're a kid, you don't know. So I said, fine, what should I be? And they said, why don't you be an engineer? And I'm like, oh, all right, I guess I'll be an engineer. And I went and I got my electrical engineering degree. Mind you, graduated with honors. And I started working at GM in Detroit, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it. So what happens is a person who is a fast thinker like I am, I'm constantly trying to figure out, well, what's my next thing? Because I'm really bored here. I don't really care about machines or faults or the electrical engineering that goes behind them. And so that's kind of when I began my entrepreneurial career, to be honest with you. I started, let's see, I think I started like an MLM at first. Like I was really into health. and I started doing, selling like supplements and doing things like that. I tried to be a personal trainer. I tried to be, I mean, you just name it. There wasn't a business I didn't try to start. And then I kind of started going back to my accounting days, and I thought, well, maybe I could do accounting, or maybe I could do investments, and the thing, why I'm telling you all this is because I tried all these businesses because I was trying to find the thing that really lit me up. And I started all the wrong ones. Now I understand what that feels like. When you're in the wrong business, you literally feel drained, and you have something like the Monday blues, even when you are starting businesses that you think you're good at. And that's the other important thing I want to talk about, because even though I was good at any of those businesses, it wasn't about being good at it. It was about feeling it. There's a core feeling that's deep down inside, and that's what this is about. And so that's what I was missing. Even though I could technically do the jobs, was I excited about them? And I wasn't. So here I am, I'm doing everything that I possibly can to find this business. And I did finally kind of stumble on something that I really liked at the time. I was an information architect. So I had moved away from engineering. I started doing information architecture, which really at the time is just a fancy word to say that I was the liaison between the clients and my programming team and my design team. And I would get all the functional requirements for whatever they wanted to design, websites, marketing, things like that. And I would take all that information, organize it, and then split it up between my two teams. Okay. And I really kind of started to love this until the dot-com bubble burst and I got laid off.
Okay.
And it was in that moment that I created this belief that I never wanted somebody to be able to control my income again. Like that was where I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't be in a world where somebody can push a little button or have a slip of a paper and say, oops, sorry, we don't need you. Bye-bye. And what happened was I got laid off. I had only really was successful in that corporate world, right? Even though I tried to start all these other businesses, but none of them, jumped out at me. None of them were successful because I wasn't living my passion. Now, at the time, I didn't understand that. And it wasn't until, honestly, I stumbled upon my passion, which turned into be graphic design. And this was right around, so this is the dot-com bubble burst, this was 2001 or something like that. And so I got a job. I made really good money as an information architect, and I had to swallow my pride and get a job working at a print company. And I realized that the print company, being a customer service representative at the print company, was the same as information architecture, but instead of a programming team, I actually had a back-end printing team. And that was the same thing. So graphic design. So one day, and this is kind of what happened to me, one day they denied a customer a job. They said, we're so busy, we can't do your job, walk out the door. Wow. And I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen? And so I actually followed that customer out. And I said, hey, I'll do the job for free if you just let me do it.
Wow.
And
I've
she
never
said,
heard this part of the story, by the way. I love it.
Yeah, thanks. And right then and there is when my graphic design career was actually born.
Got it.
And so I started, helping her design layouts and branding and doing all of the stuff that really lit me up. I loved that world, to be honest with you. And here's the reason why. This is what I realized many years down the road was that my passion was to show people the way. And when people would come in with graphic design, they had no idea which direction they were supposed to go. They just said, all I know is I need a logo, but how the heck am I supposed to do that? And I'm like, all right, let me show you the way. Let me show you what a logo does. Let me show you what branding does. And because I'm in web development, let me show you where a website can help you. And I was actually living my passion. I didn't understand that. And that's the key thing here is that I didn't get it. I sort of where I am today, because I want you to understand how this business came about and how it still satisfies the passion and the mission and my purpose in life. Because I was developing these branding and websites for all these people and, women entrepreneurs, things like this. And what I realized was that these people that I was doing this for, they go out of business in 6 months, 12 months, or a year.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Why are these people going out of business? Like, what is it that they're not attaching to? Because to be honest, in my web business, I finally stuck at it. In my graphic design business, I finally arrived at a business that I love doing every day of my life. And I said, what what is it for them that something's not clicking? Why are they leaving? And it was this self-search that kind of really, that I started to really research and speak about. And what I noticed was they weren't starting their passion business. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the reasons that I wanted Connie to share her evolution is because I think that people, tell me if you agree with this, Connie, I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to get it all right the first time. Yeah. And Connie and I have talked about this off air, if you will, that about how lots of the people who we view as successful, Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, lots of people started unsuccessful businesses or didn't have success their first time trying whatever. But we focus on the big, huge, grandiose success, I guess, if you will. I don't really like that word. But I think that there's so much beauty in understanding that you try and you try and you try, and that is one way. You figure it out. Connie's got a different way. She takes you through an entire process that allows you to get it right the first time, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Yes. I wish I'd had that, because I was that person, Connie, who laid in bed at night, who thought, my job it's good. I like it. I'm good at it, so I should stick with it. Don't you love that excuse you reference? You're good at this, Kendrick. Yeah, but it's sucking my soul. Like, I'm going to be on antidepressants, like, by the time I'm 20, which there's nothing wrong with, other than if it's your job, then you know. So anyway, I'm on that. But, and I didn't know what to do. I was telling somebody earlier, I think I emailed Oprah like 16 times saying, how am I supposed to live my best life? I don't know how. Tell me what to do. Like, it's Oprah's responsibility to tell me, but somehow I thought it was. So I wish I had you to help me, because I'm passionate. Like, there's no problem with passion. It was, what is it? What is it? And so, Connie, talk to me a little bit about the process that people, let me ask a different question. How do people know if they're in the wrong business? So how would they know?
Yeah, there's definitely certain feelings that come up. Like I spoke about earlier, like the Monday blues. You feel drained, you feel unexcited to get up in the morning to work the business. There's, some people, they have an overwhelming feeling of failure because they're not satisfied with the status quo. Well, I've got to, if you're in the corporate world, you got a steady paycheck and your benefits. Why isn't this making me happy? And I'm paying my bills and what's going on. If you're in the wrong business, it's because, it's like, well, I started this business. I'm decent at it, but I don't know. Like, every customer conversation is draining me, or I'm feeling empty inside. Like, there's just something not right. You're misaligned. You're disconnected.
Right.
These are the things that when you're in the wrong business, these qualities is what you feel.
So what do you do? Like, if you're sitting there and you're misaligned, you're disconnected, you're having the Monday blues, every customer or most customers sort of suck the life out of you, or the energy. What do you do?
Yeah, so this is what I spent the last 4 years researching of my life.
There you go.
Yes, I found a process. It is not my process. I do want to give credit where credit is due. Tim Kelly, he had a great book that was put out, and as soon as I read the book, it was like a light bulb went off. It was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And so I went and I trained under his coaches. And I learned his process, because now what I did in my life by stumbling upon it, I was finally able to articulate in the right process. And what I realized is, when somebody's going to open a business, and this is what's key here, when somebody's going to open a business, attach it to why you're here, to your why, to that deep reason of why you came to earth. And you do this by 4 components. There's 4 components that Tim Kelly speaks of and that I teach. And the 4 components are essence, blessing, mission, and message, okay? And essence is really important. And people always go, well, why is essence important? The essence is your being. It's who you are when you're sleeping. It's who you are when you're walking down the street. It's who you are when you're talking to a stranger. It's your being. And how that applies to business is your being is your brand. It's your colors. It's your fonts, it's all those things. And if you don't know what your being is, you can get misaligned with your brand. And if you're not excited about your brand, you're going to be really hard getting out there to sell yourself.
Been there. Been there. Sorry, but may I interject and say, been there. Like if you're embarrassed to send people to your website because it just, and that would be my fault, not the designer's fault, because I didn't know these things, right? I didn't know how to articulate them. So yeah, all I want to say is amen, sister. Totally believe it. Let me ask one quick question about essence just before we move on. Can people, so if essence is your being, if I'm saying this right, it's who you are when you're asleep, it's who you are at your core. Can people lose their essence? In other words, not be aware of what their essence is because they're so busy. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Then you can lose it. Here's the reason why I know this. So if you could see me in this interview, I'm energetic, I'm loud, I'm bright, and this is who I am. And all my life, people said, 2 notches, Connie, just turn 2 notches down, just a little bit down. What they were actually doing, even though they didn't know it, but what they were actually doing was they were trying to subdue my essence.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I was told this my whole life too. This is why I instantly fell in love with you. There's so many reasons. I had a manager one time say to me, Connie, and I may have told you this, did you ever think that your personality might be a little obnoxious? And I was like, me? No, I didn't. I mean, I was like, no, I thought people loved my personality. I thought it was one of my best qualities.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I think you might come on a little strong. And I was so offended. Later, after some distance, I understood what he meant. But it's that whole dial it back, dial it back, dial it back. So that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. Oh, perfect sense. Okay.
But when you're in the right business, you don't have to dial it back.
Yeah. Okay.
Because when you're in the right business, people come to you for whatever that is, you know? Yeah. Now, some people, look, not everybody in the world is my ideal client. And there's no way I could service everybody in the world. But the people who need energy, the people who want excitement, those are my ideal clients. And if I dial myself back, I'm going to attract clients that are ideal for me. Because
exactly.
Now, if people need that calm, if people need the quiet voice, the very calm energy, there's other people to do that, to service those people. And so that's why when you say, you know, like technically in the world, to put a generic term on me, I'm a life purpose coach, right? That's the generic term. But there can be a million life purpose coaches on one street, and we're all going to work with different clients.
Yeah.
And if you try to be equal to the person that's right across from you and say, well, they're a life purpose coach, I'm just going to follow them.
Yeah.
It's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
You got to find what you are, because then you're going to attract your ideal clients. And if you dial yourself, down, or hide your light under a bush, or whatever you want to say, then you're going to miss the opportunity to work with the best people on the planet for you.
I love this. And I want to talk just a little bit more about this because I think that this gets overlooked so much. I think people want to jump into the functional parts of running a business before they get this part right. I did. I wanted to, well, let's get the website up, but let's get the whatever. Let's see it, right? Yep. And then I'll adjust. And I'm all for trying something and then adjusting. But I think that I have chills. At your core, if you don't know at your essence who you are, it's going to be so difficult to make a visual representation of that. Exactly. So difficult. And I finally also have realized that, yeah, my personality may be obnoxious to some people, and that's just a sign that I'm not the right person for you, and that's okay, right? Yeah. But my gosh, it took me nearly 40 years to figure that out. Yeah. Okay, so essence, I want to come back to essence because I think it's huge. But okay, so the next step is what, Connie?
Well, the next step is the blessing. And to be honest with you, out of all 4 of them, that's the biggest one.
Okay, tell us.
Extremely important. Blessing, it holds everything. So the thing is and let me describe blessing in this way. This is the best way that I learned about it. This is the way that my coach taught it to me when she first talked about blessing. She said, in blessing, there is a start state. There is a middle state, and there is an end state, right? So you got 3 states to blessing. And blessing, by the way, is how you transform somebody. When they come to you in a start state. They go through your blessing process, the middle state, and then when they leave you, they are at an end state, right? the best metaphor is a washing machine. And yep, you can laugh at me. I don't care. It's cool. But listen to how this works.
I love this.
This start state is dry, dirty clothes. You can't put wet, clean clothes in a washing machine because it doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
It's dry, clean clothes. Then they go into the washer. And when they go into the washer, what happens to them? They get wet. They get soap on them. They get agitated. And then they get spun so that they're a little bit, less soaked than what they were,
Yes. Yes.
And then they finish. And the end state is now wet, clean clothes.
Okay.
Okay. Now the dryer takes over. And the dryer's blessing is to take wet, clean clothes and make them dry, clean clothes. And when you put them in the dryer puts heat on them, spins them around for about 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. And when this dryer's end state is done, you have dry, clean clothes. Now the dryer can't do the washer's job, and the washer can't do the dryer's job. That is why everybody gets to be unique in the world. This is why everybody gets to be whatever their industry that they want, and they still can have an abundance of clients. Because their start state is going to be different than somebody else's start state. And their blessing, how they bless people, is going to be different than their neighbor's blessing. So, for instance, my clients, they come to me, they're feeling all those symptoms of emptiness and unfulfilled and drained and lost, and they're foggy. These are my start state clients. If somebody says, I know exactly the business I want to start, you're not my client. It's as simple as that. I know what my start state is. The middle state, we go through, we find your purpose. We work through whatever limiting beliefs you have. We determine the business that is ideal for you because of your 4 parts of your purpose. All these things. This is my blessing. People come to me confused. They leave me with clarity. They know what they're supposed to do. They know the business they're supposed to open. They know their vision and they're attached to it emotionally, physically, spiritually. This is blessing. Now, if you don't know what your start state is, and say you open a furniture, and you open a furniture restoration place in San Francisco, let's say, okay? Yeah, you could restore any furniture they bring to you, I guess, But what do you really love? And maybe somebody says, you know what I really love? I love the energy of dressers from the 1940s.
Oh, I love that.
Those dressers come in and I get to, shine them all back up, polish them, fix the wood, the niches or whatever. Can you imagine the life that dresser went through? The kind of era clothes that they held, all these things. And now you just found your perfect ideal client, because when somebody comes and brings you this 1940s dressers with its ornate legs and it's and the handles that open up, it's exciting to you.
Yeah.
Could you restore a bench from the 1980s? Yeah, you could. But if it's not exciting, why? You know what I mean?
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I have a question here. Is it always exciting? Like, should it always feel like that?
For my clients, yes.
Really? So they can, so this is fascinating, because I think, at least there's a belief for me, maybe I'm not speaking for everybody, but that it won't always feel like that. So if you're in the right business, it should feel like that. I mean, granted, there are going to be things probably that you have to do that you don't love, but it should feel like that most of the time.
You should lose track of time. And if you're not losing track of time, you're not in the right business.
Lose track of time because you're doing stuff you love, not because you're doing menial tasks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
When you don't know that time exists anymore, then you know that you're in the passion business,
Yeah.
So if you're trying to just get something done, like I just got to do it, I just got to make it happen, you're not doing your blessing. You don't have the right thing coming to you, whatever that is. So you're just trying to get it done.
Okay.
So now, I do want to make a point here, though.
Yeah.
For me, my clients will feel excitement. Not everybody has the passion that I do. And if you have a lower passion, but you still want a purpose, or you're going to probably be ideal for some other life purpose coach.
Yeah.
Who doesn't require excitement. But if you want me to work with you and you want my intuition to come through, I need to hear you're excited, because if you get to a point and you're like, yeah, I think, I guess helping people, like being a nurse is, yeah, I think it's kind of that idea. I'm not going to, you're going to stop me because I
Yeah.
love what you do.
Yeah.
When you love what you do, my ideas flow. I can work with a person like that. So if that's not you, you're not an ideal client. It's as simple as that. Do you have to have excitement, love, passion like I do? Gosh, no. But maybe then I wouldn't be your ideal coach.
Okay. Fantastic. So, okay. So we've got the essence. We've got blessing.
Yep.
What comes next?
Mission.
Tell
So
me.
next is mission. So mission is how you transform the world. So the blessing is how you transform an individual, right?
Okay.
The mission is how you transform the world. My mission for the longest time was to raise the consciousness of the planet. That's what my mission was for the longest time. I have a new mission that has come as of late. And a mission, by the way, once the entire world has raised consciousness, I'm done. It's over. The blessing is something you do from the time you realize it around 8 or 9 years old until the rest of your life. The mission, however, you do it once and then you're done. Maybe your mission is to make a neighborhood prosperous again, okay? And once you've made it prosperous, you're done. It's time to move on. Now, what I notice in many, 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 many life purpose books is they go to your mission. How do you change the world? And they skip over your blessing, which is the key component of your business. It's your program. It's your, it's your customers. It's your ideal. It's your avatars. All of those things is in the blessing. The mission is just like, this is what I'm going to do for the world. And
okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? The difference?
Yeah, I think so. Let me make sure I'm on the same page. So one time I had somebody say to me, where can you make a difference in the world right now? And I was like, I can make a difference in the world. I mean, I could go work at a homeless shelter. I could go whatever. I mean, I don't know if that makes a massive difference in the world, but, and then she said, okay, where can you make a difference in the online world right now? And there were places I could make a difference. And there could have been some tied to my blessing, but I didn't know my blessing at that point. You know what I mean? So I never could really settle. I didn't like this question. It made me uneasy. Asking that question now, I could come up with a mission because I could articulate a mission because I know my blessing. So I guess my question is, does it go in that order? Essence, blessing, mission? Like, do you need to know your essence and your blessing, or not necessarily?
It's the order that I go in, but it's not, there's not
necessarily. It's not. Okay. So
not necessarily an order in it.
So your mission changes. So I'm going to ask a really specific question just to make sure I understand it. Go ahead.
I do want to say the mission actually refines. Can I say it better that way?
Yeah.
It's refined. So does your blessing. Your first blessing that you hear is like the blessing that you're ready for in that moment.
Okay.
And then years down the road, you're going to revisit these things.
Okay.
You're going to refine them because you're like, wow, okay, I understand why I was only ready for it then, but I'm ready for something deeper now. And what's the next step? Now I'm ready for something deeper. So it refines is what it does.
And could that be like in practical or visible terms, could that be like the next evolution of somebody's business?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. So you start out doing X and then whatever X is, and then the next evolution becomes clear and you take maybe a small turn towards something similar in the same ballpark, but a little different or whatever. Yes?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So we've got essence, we've got blessing, we've got mission, and we have
message.
All right. Tell me.
How do you speak to the world?
How you speak to the world.
How do you speak to the world? Now, message is something that I really love because it really draws upon your experiences. So many people want to forget their experiences in the world, their wounds. And this is a big thing. It's called wound marketing, kind of.
Okay.
A man by the name of Jeffrey Van Dyke is the one that has brought this to the world. That is his blessing to the world, is bringing this wound marketing. And it's amazing. And the way that message works is you really look at your experiences in the world. What has brought you to the point of where you are today? And like for me, my biggest experience, and you're, again, interesting, is what I call the dollar story. Way back when I was in middle school, all my friends were going to go get a slice of pizza or a bag of breadsticks. And at that time in the 1980s, they were literally $1 for a slice of pizza and a bag of breadsticks, unlike today.
Heaven. It sounds like heaven.
I walked up to my dad and I said, Dad, can I have $1 to walk up to my friends and get a bag of breadsticks or a slice of pizza. He sat me down for an entire hour and he told me how hard he worked for that dollar. I didn't get the dollar, nor did I get to go hang out with my friends because they all left me because my dad was lecturing me.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing though. I created a story. I created a wound right in that moment that said, I will never allow somebody to control me. I will never allow somebody to decide what I can and cannot do. I will make a difference in my life because I will do it. I will be responsible for that. Okay. So that is probably why when I was in the corporate world, I was always starting entrepreneurial businesses because they could decide what I made.
Yeah.
They could, what hours I worked. They could decide when I could take vacation and when I couldn't take vacation.
Yes.
And I made this wound that I will never let somebody control me. It will not happen. Okay.
I love
it. Now, why is that important? And now why is that important to my message? The reason is because my ideal clients will probably have that wound. They will probably have a similar story in some way, somewhere in their life. And if I say, are you ready for freedom? Which is what comes from that. What did you really crave in that moment? I craved freedom. And if these people are sitting here going, oh, all I want is freedom. I want to just do what I want to do when I want and how I want to do it. And it's killing me inside that I can't do these things. That's my message. You can create a freedom life. You can create a business that you love, that you desire. You can then do the things that you want to do out there in the world.
Yeah.
This is where my message comes from.
Okay.
So that's what that is. So we connect you to that message. What is that message? What are the words to use and how do you use them so that you can connect to your audience? And they can sit in that audience, whatever that is, and say, oh my God, that's the person I need to work with. Because she found her way. She found a way from point A of feeling controlled to point B of being in absolute freedom.
Okay. So Connie, I remember one of the questions I asked you when one of our first conversation is, how do you know? So helping someone tap into their purpose, that's Kendrick language, but feels to me, because I don't know how to do it, feels to me like a big mission, like a big, I'm not using the word right, but a big deal. Like, well, maybe you're right, maybe you're not. People make mistakes all the time. But through your process, you feel very confident that people find it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How? How can you be so confident? Tell us.
Yeah. Good question. So, because I can connect them to themselves. That's part of the process. So many of us have hidden away the voices that really tell us what that purpose is. We've just said, well, but this is what this person said, or that person said. Well, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And they're coming at it at an ego base. And what is ego? Ego wants to make sure you're safe, you're well fed. If you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that's ego. Until you get to that top kind of, structure, the whatever, the very top of it, then you start to go from ego to, for lack of a better word today, I'm going to call it intuition. Okay. You can call whatever you want. You can call it source, universe, whatever the word is that you want to define it. And what we do is we connect to that. That is how I know. So when we can connect to that, we can then gather that information. And the beauty about working with a coach is, so many people say, well, can't I just, read a purpose book and find my purpose? You could. You might even be able to take a class if you really want to try. But the thing is I've worked with enough clients. I know the language of source. I can validate the language of source. And I can immediately feel it because I've worked with enough clients to know it. And of course, I'm also studying and working with my coaches constantly and learning so much that I can give away, I can give my knowledge to people. So I've had some people come to me. They literally said, this is what it is. And I went, nope, that's ego. And they go, oh, no, it's, and I'm like, yeah, let me tell you why it's ego. And I show them the words, those language that ego is. And we get past that. We move past ego. So when we can do that, you will open yourself up to opportunities, awareness, intuition, however you want to state it in your language, but you will connect to that purpose. This is how I know. This is why I'm confident. My clients, there is a part where you need to be ready to hear it.
Yeah.
And I do want to state that there are some people who aren't ready to hear their purpose. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means maybe there's some life experiences that you need to live.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's some forgiveness that needs to happen into your life. And you're simply not ready to live your purpose. And I want to put that caveat out there. There could be people who are searching for it so hard, but they've missed a pre-step in there.
Yeah.
And they have to they need to go to a coach before me. They need to go to a forgiveness coach, a self-love coach, an acceptance coach, whatever that is. And then when they have all that self-love and acceptance and forgiveness, and they're like, no, I'm definitely ready. Now we can move forward.
Yeah.
Because you will find your purpose. Is it 100%? No, there's nothing that's ever guaranteed anywhere in life.
Right.
But if you're ready, I can connect you. And
so I think it's interesting, and maybe I'm so jazzed up. No, this is not the reason. I'm always jazzed up when I talk to you, but I'm so jazzed up about this because I feel like, and I don't know how it happens for people, but I feel like just this past week, like another veil was lifted off of from my, I call it higher self, but whatever, to the next direction. And really, I've been like really wanting to know what the right, like I had ideas, but I didn't feel it here. You know, I didn't feel it in my stomach and my heart. And so I had ideas, but I think that was my ego saying, okay, well, we could do this or we could do this. And I'm like, no, we are not doing anything until I know. I know. And I've learned how to know through running this business, from people like you, working with people, you know, who show me what intuition is and tapping into your body and your higher self or your source or whatever. But what I loved about it, Connie, was it was easy. Like when my source told me and my higher self told me, I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'm not kidding. It was like this whole part of my brain lit up. And I'm like, this is step 1. This is step 2. This is step 3. Like there was no, how do you do this? It was like a straight line.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. You got it, girl.
And it's amazing to me how much time I wasted and people waste trying to force it or trying to hide from it. So trying to hide from it because their ego says it's not a safe route. I did that for so long. I'll just stay in corporate. I'll just stay in corporate. I'll just stay in corporate. And then trying to force it when I wasn't ready. I know I've never heard it put like this, but I know the exact life lessons that I had to learn and why it wasn't open to me until just this weekend. I can point back and say, oh, I needed to learn that. And I needed to learn that. And I needed to learn that.
Yep.
But wow. Hindsight's 2020, right? Like it's not so fun when you're stuck there. Like I want it, but it's not something you can bulldoze.
Yeah, no, it's not. And I, now that I've worked with enough clients, I can actually tell when they're not ready. It does come with experience, of course. And, but I can now immediately within the first 3 sessions, I can go, ooh, you know what? You might have to work on these other things first. And then I'm always here for you. I'm not going anywhere, hopefully not for a while. There was a couple clients that I recommended that they do a couple of things before finding their life purpose. And I could just tell.
Okay. So the purpose of the Kendrick Shope Show is it's taking on a life of its own, I will say, which maybe has something to do with that turn that I'm not ready to reveal yet. But Connie and I have talked about that off air. But the purpose initially was behind the scenes, or behind closed doors, what it really takes to hit $1 million. And I just want to say, after doing this business for 5 years, after helping a lot of people make whatever, their first dollar, their first $1,000, their first whatever, money in their business and achieving a 7-figure mark in my own, I will tell you that what Connie teaches, this is not a sales pitch. This is just truth. What Connie teaches is an absolute requirement. It's a prerequisite for making money in your business, period. You cannot fake your essence. That's what authenticity is all about, right? Like you can put it out there and you can learn and you can grow, but you cannot fake your essence.
Right.
And I think that, I don't know. I just see so many people trying to do that. And so I want to say, if people are sitting there wondering, how does this relate to behind the scenes or behind closed doors, what it takes to get $1 million? This is where it starts. This is it. This is where it starts. I am 100% positive about that. The next thing I want to say is, and this leads into a question for you, Connie. one of the questions that I began asking people, because this is my why, is if my 7-year-old daughter were standing here and you had only one piece of life advice to give her, only one, what would it be?
Follow what makes you happy.
Yeah. Which is the direction that this is eventually going to take. Connie wants to live in a world where people, you fill in the blanks. You said it earlier. You want to live in a world where what? Fill in the blank.
I walk down the street and everybody's smiling because they know exactly what they're supposed to do in the world. Like that is just joy, pure joy.
And I want to live in a world where little girls and boys, but I'm pretty feminine, so probably I'll stick with little girls because I have a little girl. Little girls and women believe that they can, whatever. Believe that they can. Because I feel like we dial things back, to use Connie's terminology, and we squish or whatever that word is, the cans, And so I love that. I would want Hallianna to hear that from you as well. It's beautiful. Connie, anything else? We're going to wrap up here. Connie's got a load of work to do because she is a highly in-demand person. But anything else you want to leave our viewers with before we sign off?
I don't know. I think it goes back to exactly what you said about, your 7-year-old child is just like, follow your bliss, follow your happiness. And if you ask that question, are you happy? And you can't say yes without going, yes, but, or yes, if, then maybe it's time to really connect to that, to connect to your purpose, to connect to your why. And so when somebody says, are you happy? All you have to do is go, yes. And I think that's what I want to leave. Just make sure that whatever you're doing in the world, you love it. You're smiling, you're excited. And that's what I want to leave.
I love it. And I feel an intuitive something to say this. So I'm going to say this. I know that a lot of people may think that's not possible, or I'll do that when. And I'm going to tell you right now that is your ego keeping you safe. You will not do that when. If the answer to the question, are you happy, is yes, but, or yes, if, that, in my opinion, is your life, your essence, your higher self, your God, whatever, screaming at you saying, there's more. Do you want your baby to say, I'm happy if, I'm happy when? No. There is no better time than today to get passionate about your life. Passion changes the world. I hear people say all the time, I want to change the world. Passion changes the world, but you got to know what it is that you uniquely bring. And that's what Connie delivers. It's one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen in my life. And Connie, I know that you're just going to continue to skyrocket from here. I expect to see you lots of places in the future. And thank you so much for being one of our first guests on the Kendrick Stokes Show. Ladies, gentlemen, if you're out there, I believe in you. I believe in your business. You can do this. If you don't know what to do, Connie can help. Have a good day, y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.